So for the past 30 days, I've been training calisthenics. But the thing is, I have no experience with calisthenics.
Oh, bro.
I was scrolling on YouTube one day, and one of the recommendation video was a guy named Leo Wang. And I was like, fuck, he is strong as hell. And he was doing some crazy stuff with his body, and his control was crazy. And I was like, how do I do that? And I know personally, me as a person, when I want something, I'll do it. And I grind like a dog until I am able to do it. That's not me bragging. That's just me knowing who I am as a person. So hopefully in this video, I can give you some inspiration to do something you normally wouldn't do. Take a leap of faith, bro. Like, you'd be surprised about the progress you make in a very short amount of time. Now, my inspirations starting out were 3 guys. So first guy is Leo Wang. I've already mentioned him. Second guy is called Chris Hernia. And then the other guy is called Ego, I believe. These guys were my inspiration. On top of that, I showed Leo Wang to my cousin. Who showed you the back, alright? Okay. My cousin said that I would never get it back like Leo Wang. And I was like, watch me. That kind of hurts. So to set some standards, I'm relatively strong with weighted training. I can incline bench 225 pounds for reps. I can actually hit 315 pounds flat bench. I did this last week, about 2 or 3 weeks into calisthenics training. I can also shoulder press 185 pounds for 1 rep. And I can do a hefty amount of pull-ups with good form. I can also L-sit for around 30 seconds. And lastly, I can do a lot of dips with perfect form. My goal starting out with calisthenic is to be able to do a clean planche, hold a handstand, and perform muscle up like these. Now, in the 30 days that I've been training, I've only really worked out seriously with body weight for about 14 days, just because I couldn't work out consistently. My joints were pretty fried, even though I worked out every other day. So, yeah, just some heads up. On the first day, I practiced holding my body weight with my hands. I couldn't hold my body weight at all and got pissed off. On the second day, I was still, falling hard. On the third day, I learned how to control my fall. You kind of fall gracefully after landing on your face a few times. On the fourth day, I decided to learn about proper form and progression. So this was what I did. I was just practicing holding this position. I was still getting a lot of frustration because how weak I felt. On the fifth day, I bought some parallettes on Amazon. These things were like 10, 20 bucks. I read that they're supposed to help with your wrist mobility and extensions. And I was getting a lot of strain on my wrists because I found out that, I was not warming them up properly. With these parallettes, I was still practicing simple holds. On the sixth day, I was getting comfortable with holds, so I would reintroduce extending my legs out. It was around the seventh day that I decided to work on my abs and flexibility. I realized that I needed more core strength and more flexibility, mostly because I was cramping up quite a bit and my abs felt very weak. From then on, every session at the gym, I'd either work on my abs or mobility whenever I can. I was also beginning to find calisthenics quite fun, so I would also be practicing holding my body weight with my hands whenever I was training at the gym. On the eighth day, I noticed that my abs were getting stronger, and I can hold my body weight a lot better than the previous days. Of course, I was still falling a lot. Thing is, at around this time, it got pretty crazy. I found myself doing holds everywhere, even before dinner on the kitchen's floor. On the ninth day, I could hold my body up with my hands for a few seconds. Of course, I came very close to busting my face a few times. In the meantime, I was progressively working on my abs and flexibility. I also held my first handstand with perfect form for 1 or 2 seconds. On the 10th day, I noticed that I was becoming very strong. My shoulders were becoming more stable and my wrist was holding out my body weight for a lot longer. I was also beginning to be able to do a few muscle ups with good forms. And best of all, I could now combo the L-sit with a holding position. But the thing is, as things were going well, I sprained my finger. Of course, I was still training despite the sprained finger, and I was still getting pretty strong. Who would let a sprained finger stop them from training, right? At least not me. I'm kind of psycho, but that's just me being built different. On the 7th day, I got some new toys from Amazon. I don't know what these are called, but they've been very fun. After resting my fingers a bit, I was back to training again. As you can see now, I was practicing comboing and holding my positions for a lot longer. It was during this day that I also benched 315 for the first time in my life. On the 12th day, my fingers were almost recovered. But remember how I benched 315? Yeah, my wrist started hurting quite a bit. So despite the pain, I kept pushing it and was able to hold this position for a relatively long amount of time. And I introduced my leg movement into it. On day 13, I started to use wrist wrap for my bodyweight training session just because my wrists were a little bit fucked up. Haven't recovered 100%. I wanted to make progress, but for the most part, the wrist couldn't really hold out, so I would fall very often. I was a bit frustrated, if I'm honest, but of course, I'm very grateful for the progress I've made in the past, 13 training days? A lot of progress has been made since day 1. And on day 14, I won't say much, but this happened. As you can see, my form is getting better, and my arms and wrists recovered quite a bit.
Do you have to have that attitude to be at the very top in your sport?
I feel to be at the pinnacle of any game, in whatever you do, you've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that. That's why I don't know about nothing else. I do not pay attention to nothing else. There was games of football on yesterday, there was rugby, there was this, there was that. And like normal society is like...
In short, bro, I don't really know where I'll be in the next coming weeks or months with calisthenics. I had so much intention of doing crazy and fancy stuff starting out, but I kind of forgotten all of those things. Like, they're still in the back of my mind, but I find the training every single day or every other day to be so fun that I've kind of got lost with the progress. And I find that the more I get lost with just training and forgetting about the progress, the more progress I make. The slow progression and struggles that I've been running through has been fun, and I don't ever want this fun to stop. I guess at the end of the day, it's me realizing that it's not so much about the cool stuff that I can do with calisthenics, but more so the journey and the fun that I'll be having along the way. Like, I know it's cliche, but bro, until you actually embark on a journey of doing something very difficult, you won't understand the joy that you get from it, especially after running through obstacle and plowing through it despite the pain. Like, bro, you feel amazing. Now, I'm gonna conclude with this, but I think the mindset and attitude that I've developed from enduring hard and painful stuff is what's making the last 30 days really worth it. Anyways, that's my update with calisthenics. I know it's different from the content I usually make, but yeah, hope you found it useful, and see you next time. All right, peace.